Thank you everyone in this hall on the Experiential Marketing Summit. Uh, when Anurag speaks, I was thinking I should consider him to be the Shah Rukh Khan of this industry. Three important reasons. He's flamboyant, you can see the jacket, and he is impressive from the experience and the way in a very short time he's able to bring forth the entire spectrum of experiential marketing. So then I was thinking, as a keynote speaker, what is it which I would be speaking? And therefore I bring to you the perspective which comes in from the media industry largely, and how exactly for our own brands and then for the clients and the customers who we cater to, the experiential domain helps. So if we look at the experiential marketing, typically at the end of it, an experience creates memories. It has to be unique, credible, obviously relatable. Credible is important. That's what Anurag was mentioning about each of the activities which had the genuinity and credibility. It must connect people. We all are connecting here. And in each of the activities which we do for our clients and customers, bringing in this connect is extremely important. Sometimes we miss on the aspect of how exactly would we be connecting, and not just the conferences inside, let's say, inside a closed space, but also when you are on the road, when you are going to the smaller towns, how exactly will you establish connect? Engaging is obviously given. A lot of times everything happens and you would find these are not relevant. And a lot of times the client eventually will say, I think you did a lot of things in that in order to make it look good, but I think it was not relevant for my category. And then of course, you have to keep in mind that because experiences are meant to be personal, so the entire creation has to have some kind of a personal connect with each one of those who are becoming part of it. No matter you are doing it for 5 lakh people, 4 lakh people, 20 lakh people, look at the way Kumbh gets managed as an experiential marketing largest set of thing. Look at the way the entire 22 January Ram Mandir project is being taken care and how exactly it is getting personalized. People have been engaged and involved and they have been told on the same day, go to your nearby temple and do some lighting and other set of things. So basically personalized is very, very important even for a mass global project. When you are told that you have to fight with COVID and day one everyone is asked that you light a lamp or you possibly make sound, there is a personalization of a mass, and India is a mass, which is what a little earlier I was being told by Ashish that we had the oldest, largest public distribution system. So in a large economy like us, personalization is very, very important. Now I talk of inext, and when we talk of inext, this is one brand, the advantage Jagran Prakashan had, that Jagran was born, Dainik Jagran brand was born in 1942. But inext was born in 2006, December 22, which is yesterday. We complete 17 years of our journey. And thank you so much. Wonderful journey, and we created wherein we comprehended what is it which my reader needs. Because newspapers in the Indian scenario were created because of freedom struggle, a whole lot of other reasons. Times of India was bought, Old Lady of Boribandar, at some point of time by the Jains, and prior to that it was run by a British family. So they were created with a different objective, and then of course they kept evolving themselves. When 17 years earlier, a newspaper, a media brand already having the largest newspaper in this country, our objective was tailor-made for a certain TG with hyper-local, bilingual, urban, slice of life, aspiring, peppy, non-conformist, Gen Z, those days millennials, we were focusing on millennials, communities, hyper-local, fun-filled, and mini metros. We said that we are not going to be a metro product. Till date, we live with that. We have a edition in Delhi, which is the largest read NCR edition of NCR region in the language Delhi's. And even despite having 4 to 5 presses here, we said that we are not going to launch in Delhi because it is a tier 2 product, and we have created it in a manner that we have homogeneity of. So basically, The thought was that how do we build communities around it? You can see it right at the top, and create that fun, city-centric, bilingual Gen Z. So I think if your domain is clear, everything else needs to be get created accordingly. So basically, when we look at experiential marketing, the need comes in because you have to have a brand connect. You have to establish that there is some kind of bonding with your end consumer, and that connect is very clearly established. Engagement is very important. A newspaper typically will turn out to be very boring if it doesn't have something in all spaces around it. So which means digitally you connect with them, on a ground you connect with them, and at the same time carry a meaningful dialogue at every connection which is happening, and then become part of their lifestyle. So it doesn't have to be dull, boring event. You have to figure out that if they are celebrating, figure out what can you do with them in celebration. If they are reading, studying, and in next few slides I will talk about that. And you have to touch upon different aspects of their everyday life. And everyday life is shopping, eating, any other sorts of things, bigger objective, career, any other set of things which you think of. And then of course, from a brand stand, create multiple touch points, as many as possible, and non-linear touch points. So what do we do? Very simple, and this is a recipe which is, I believe, is possibly for all the organizations, but I'm just highlighting it. We have 3 identified TGs: young adult, 14 to 23-year-old, and male adults, as well as female, and I have defined them differently, purposefully, 24 to 35. That's all. This is who we cater to. We have identified what are the most important interest areas for them. They are in career, guidance, and any kind of rewards. Health, wellness, and entertainment was always important even when inext was conceived. I must tell you, post-COVID, this is the biggest space for every single individual in personalized domain, wherein a lot can be done in that direction. Of course, for a tier 2, which is the other Bharat, or you can say that type of cities, tier 3, tier 4 also, personality development, skill enhancement, confidence building, their ability to look good, present themselves good, all these are great opportunities. And therefore you would see that when you see Indian Idol, you see a whole lot of other programs, you will get a massive fan following, as well as people trying to connect from that part of the world. So if there is anything which you intend to do for tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 cities, you always have to think of that how is it making them better human being, or making them presentable. And something which might look cliched, let's say for a metro city phenomena, will turn out to be very big over there. Then one can do it 2 ways. You create all your own IPs, Anurag was talking about it, 70 plus IPs. And similarly for us, there's a journey on IPs. Or you go to the client and say, look, this is what my TG, what is your marketing problem? And this is something which I would want to highlight. For today, this 1,10,000 crore media industry, not the entertainment industry I'm talking about, the entire proposition, right from providing you spot space, slots, or column centimeter spaces, has changed to marketing solutions. And if you are in a position to provide marketing solutions, and incidentally that turns out to be in your own media, the spot or the column centimeters, it works. Otherwise, I think clients are also very diametrically and very differently changing in that direction. So we've identified that if young adults are there, let's look at them for education point of view. I'll talk of only one IP of all the things which we show onto the screen. There's something called Students Award, there's something Indian Intelligence. Indian Intelligence Test, which we started about 12 years earlier, this is the 10th season of Indian Intelligence Test. In between for a year, we couldn't do it. It was about a simple insight, and the insight is 80% of the youngsters, our kids at home, it is very difficult for their parents to know what is it which is good for my ward. I mean, the career counseling doesn't practically exist in the schools. And in absence of that, going through 30-year-old syndrome, 20-year-old syndrome, and I'm repeatedly saying, many of you who do not really come from and stay for longest time period in tier 2, tier 3 cities, you won't be able to realize that in the schools, it is still believed that you pick up a science stream and you become a medico, you become let's say an engineer, a massive race against JEE and several other set of things. or now the CLAT and probably even, and finally if you have done a graduation, become an MBA. But what about 230, 240 fields which are emerging? What about governments of India's policy and liberal arts and several other set of things? And these people these kids without realizing their own talent, they possibly get into the wrong field 5 years down the line, 4 years down the line, after graduation, after picking up their first job. They think, oh, this was not for me. I'm a graduate from BITS Pilani, and I think in the third year I realized this is not what I wanted to do, and I was there by the virtue of being a meritorious student, and finally got into MICA and did something else. And we thought we are not going to make the kids of our region go through this. Till date, we have done 20 lakh examinations based on Harvard Gartner theory, a very simple test, typically to 2,000 rupees. We converted it into a 150 rupees test with an OMR sheet, with assessment, and finally telling them what is the kind of multiple intelligence a kid has. And we have been doing it repeatedly. So in the third or the fourth year, a kid and their parents, more important their parents, more important the teacher, becomes clear what space this boy or this girl will do very well, and then making them confident to get into that field. More important is they don't get the confidence. They believe, oh, if he does liberal art, probably there might be something wrong. Maybe he'll not be able to make a career. Parents are open, but they think, what kind of career will be happening? So then career pathways. We then realized in the fifth year, after doing Indian intelligence test, we will also have to explain them what kind of career will they be making. If you are doing geography and you have interest in maths, eventually what are the 5 careers you can get in, and what are the institutions or the colleges in India or outside India wherein you would be getting in, and making it available for a mass level. And this is what has converted into a good business model for us. And we feel, we were just talking outside, we were telling it to Minal that, you know, what you do for this world, which is materialistic life, if you do something for the other world, which is, we call Parlok, and you are able to do right for the humanity and for the society, you don't really have to go to the temple. You're doing what you're supposed to do as a human being in terms of doing it right. And that's what the spirit of the entire inext team, 260 of us, go through when whether editorial guys, whether sales guys, whether marketing guys, they create that we are doing something good, genuine, for the betterment of the society. And in the process, we are also able to make money, which means parmarth mein bhi swarth hai. But wo parmarth wala thought turns out to be the most important one. And I think all corporates, all organizations in very different manner can find a reason, a very, very important reason to do that. Now, I would be rushing quickly, telling you that the same thought comes in for even celebrating kids or the youngsters when for the first time they go to the college. This is the first time freedom. They don't have to wear their school uniform, several other set of things. First things happening in their life. Why not celebrate that and create that in the format of fresh and crazy celebration? So we said roadblock, all freshers going to the colleges for the first time will celebrate their life with us. There are co-TG. We'll create something interesting for them. Miss Starlet, confidence building. But most important of that, Gillette, long back about 10 years earlier, told us that we are for confidence, we are for career success. What would you create for us? So we said we'll create something experiential for you. They already had experimented with it. We created something beautiful for you, and probably we'll share in the glimpses. We said the confidence of meeting the world comes in, and remember, you know, we were doing it in Bihar and Jharkhand. The confidence of meeting the world comes in when you actually are well-groomed individual. So well-grooming, by way you are able to communicate, talk, somebody expert giving them those set of advices. At the same time, for the first time experiencing shaving experience and thinking of how would it be. And this was their introduction of Presto, the lowest cost 12, 13 rupees product, and the entire environment and experiences getting created. Imagine in the school premises, they are standing next to a counter or a booth wherein they are actually shaving for the first time, and they are also getting expert advice. And then of course there was a higher order merit into it, wherein we said, eventually if you are amongst the selected few based on GDPI, then we'll give you employment in our organization, and we'll also give you internship. So like that. Similarly, married women. Imagine why is there so much of viewing of, now it is obviously shifting to OTT platforms, but the entire GC having very high dominant women viewership, coming out of that simple fact of, do I have that in me? will I be able to see that success in somebody else's life onto the screen? But why don't we do it ourselves? So creating a platform for them and telling them, if you have a talent, display it, highlight it. Not really a beauty pageant, but culminating into the form of a beauty pageant, Mrs. Natural Beauty. In the first year, we thought, I don't know how many people will participate. We got 7,000 entries across UP's key cities. Then we got 14,000 entries. Then we had to do screening. Then we had to create several sections of some of the most talented people. Then we finally started creating a grooming platform for them, 3 to 4 days. And then, of course, several things. And again, I keep telling you that my TG is very clear. I know youngsters, I know male adults, I know women adults. For women, imagine if somebody is 24 to 35, somebody in the age of 35, maybe has become mom in the age of 26, 25, 27, 7-year-old kid. What is the center of her life? It is the kids. So we said we'll focus on their kids. So, we'll catch the little one. So mom will obviously be attended or will probably get addressed. So in the process, we created something very, very basic. In my opinion, all the great experiential marketing events are very simple. They got to be super simple. So we created something wherein we asked Indian Medical Association, take us through all the possible schools of the kids. And Indian Medical Association gave us 200 physicians. We said, I only want 4 hours of your time. And 200 physicians per city, across 10, 12 cities, 2,400 physicians devoting their time just examining the weight, the denture, as well as the eyes of the kids. And the finding, 15% of the kids had one or the other problem: obese, underweight, eyesight. People don't get to know. In younger age, you don't even get to know that the kid is not concentrating on studies because there's an eyesight issue. The kid is possibly having a less of a confidence because of certain other set of thing. So, smaller things such as these have become big. They have won global awards, several global awards, and also corporates like Lifebuoy, Britannia, everybody is associated with it. So all this focusing on them, creating the experiences, doing it mass, utilizing the entire network strength of the group. I was sharing it with you, it's very, very important, fitness, health, sports, as a mass movement across cities. We created some 15 years earlier a solution for a client of ours in South, TI Cycles. They said, our challenge is the black cycle is only selling at a 5% CAGR. What do? We are doing premium bikes, premium cycles. So they created a new division called Tracks and Trails. They had opened up about 30, 40 shops across. They said, how are you going to entice people getting into the cycling? This is 15 years earlier. So we created something, Bikeathon, a cycle rally, looks a little not really the kind of thing which is very aspirational. So Bikeathon, which started 15 years earlier, we are the original cycling rally completely converted into an experience of half a day with a post-event carnival and other set of thing. Now every year about 50,000 people participate into it. It's almost like a record. We always say if you create the right experience, it is not yours. A right experience is always of the audience. It is the audience which makes it successful. Modi ji creates a right experience. Now he no longer is fighting his election. There are thousands and lakhs and crores of people who are fighting his election, or for that matter, anybody else. Similarly, if you create an event, now every year, the DM will inquire, the commissioner will inquire, हाँ भाई आपकी वो साइकिल रैली कब हो रही है, तो फिर हमें कब अरेंज करना पड़ेगा, आप संडे को रखिएगा, इस दिन रखिएगा. The city takes it up, they do it. We are just the coordinator and we are the convener of that. We realized the marathons, half marathons happen only in metros. So we said, can we give the similar experience of wearing a bib, running, and a timed run to the smaller towns? We created Healthon. We are currently running it. Beautiful responses, amazing experiences, health and wellness collectively in an experiential manner. I'm not able to share a lot of interesting client experiences over there because the videos would run very long, but that kind of thing. People are looking forward to investment experiences. We are aware that finance has become a big category. Thousands and thousands and lakhs of people. You can possibly do webinars and you can possibly train them, but what about a whole lot of questions and one-on-one interaction with an expert? This is an entire category in itself. We are doing it beautifully and we are getting a lot of people who are, educating them about their finances. So basically form communities. Coin initiative, Anurag was sharing about 70 different initiatives. Create values. It is very important. It must be value creating. If it is not value creating, it will just pass it as an event. So inext has done no stage entertainment show as yet. In these 17 years, not a single stage entertainment show. I think there is a big domain. A speaker soon after me, Wizcraft, is expert into that. They would do that. We create communities and we want to bring values for them. Then build connections, make sure that stay connected all throughout the year. This is not one day event. If you have already formed a community, there has to be something, a platform or a website or a consistent communication being sent to them on that knowledge sharing, which is for all throughout the year. You cannot just appear once in a year and then think that, oh, for rest of the year, let them do whatever they're doing. And then, of course, recognize and reward. This is very important. Every single participant, there are 70,000 participants in Bikeathon, but we make sure that every single one of them carries a certificate. It's very difficult. Let me tell you, it is more difficult than organizing an event itself, because you have to get their name right and the event is over, and then you have to make sure that the certificate goes to their residences and several others. We become an Indian Postal Department on that day, at that particular period, but it is very important. Now coming on, talking about how large corporates are utilizing this as an opportunity for them, Trends had a challenge. The challenge was simple. Winter selling happens because they have casual wear. The pre-festive selling happens. What happens in the month of February? Imagine March, April, how will Trends be selling? This was a big challenge. It continues to be a challenge for them. So they said, can you create something around Holi? But nobody buys clothes on Holi. Holi is celebrated, but nobody buys clothes. So how do we create? And incidentally for them also this turns out to be, so in fact they said, how do we sell during March and April? So we said, use Holi. So they said, nobody buys clothes around Holi. So we said, let us now create something for you, which is an experience of a different kind, and which will make everyone come to your store and enjoy this entire celebration. And then we, of course, built in some other set of things with the help of their sales team. And it finally turned out to be a super success. So I have already told you what, how, and how exactly did we manage it. We created an activity, and there is an audio visual for that. I request the people at the console to play that.
किसी भी गाने पे अपना सिंगिंग या डांसिंग का वीडियो बनाएं और इस नंबर पे व्हाट्सएप करें।
साथ में हैशटैग होली का हर रंग अपने फेसबुक और इंस्टाग्राम पर शेयर करना ना भूलिए।
हम आएंगे टॉप 3 विनर्स से मिलने
और आपके पास होगा 7 लाख तक के प्राइजेस जीतने का मौका। तो ट्रेंड्स के साथ मनाइए होली का हर रंग।
So in flat 3 days, we shot this, we created it. We made sure that the entire celeb endorsement, coordination, everything else takes place. And eventually we had 50 plus million campaign reach. We had 1 plus million people reaching through influencer marketing. We received around 15,000 entries. Of course, we were expecting more, but there were more experiences. And there was 150% increase in the footfall recorded by Trends in terms of people coming and visiting store. Several of them said, we didn't know that the Trends store existed, and they came in for the first time. And of course, they distributed coupons and they could make sale. Pampers had a very interesting and different. This is the legendary brand, the biggest in the country so far as the diapers are concerned. But the challenge turns out to be people in the smaller town are using it only for special occasions. नेबर के घर में कोई फंक्शन है, बच्चे को लेके जाना है, थोड़ा एम्बैरसिंग मोमेंट नहीं हो, डायपर पहना के ले जाइए, कोई शादी में जा रहे हैं. Now is the time when the mother cannot really take care of the kid, diaper pehna ke le jaiye. What about the regular uses? So the identification and insight through Pampers, the team of them, and we sat together and we talked about, so they had shared Maharashtra experience. The UP experience was different because there, the male adult in Maharashtra is a decision maker in the family decision. But in UP, male adult is absolutely no decision maker, and there are supposedly two devils in the family, the mother-in-law and the sister-in-law, who would say, तू कामचोर है इसीलिए ये डायपर पहनाना चाहती है. You are the one who do not want to take care. So we had to take care of her. We had to take care of middle not being there. We created key opinion leaders, and we created something for them, which was experiencing how exactly are you a good mother, you are a better mother, and you are the one who are really concerned about the health. Now, who can say this? This is only one key opinion leader, which is a doctor, a pediatrician, and again, the one who's famous in the locality, the one who went there. We did it as a massive activity. And for PNG is extremely research-based organization. Finally, in the first season when they did it, there was a 33% CDI because it was a category development exercise. They are the largest in the category. And in the second season when they did, they were able to sustain that level of growth. And co-creation of this entire thing was very important. So what are the key takeaways? Last 3 minutes for the entire conversation we've had. Make sure if you are doing an activity, it is an experiential marketing activity. At best, you will reach 5 lakh people, 10 lakh people. But what about crores of people? Amplify it in the right manner. If you have a great PR strategy, use that. If you do not have it, buy PR or possibly do advertising, but make sure it has to reach many more people. Because some are experiencing it, but client is spending a lot of money. It is very important that it reaches to everyone. Also make sure that you are serious about involved communities. So, for example, in Bikeathon, we don't do it once. We've created Bikeathon clubs. Now, these clubs are held by the local people, and there are the office bearers of these clubs, and they do every month a Bikeathon club activity. They will go all the way up to next to the riverside, and they will do something. Sometimes they'll do Old City Trail. They'll have some kind of an experiences. They contribute. So a community can be given back to the community activity. You are just a, let's say, a stakeholder. Like we say, इस दुनिया में हम आते हैं, कुछ करके चले जाते हैं, and I'm very impressed with what Minal mentioned. And in Hindi there is a saying, Das Kabir ne aisi odi, ज्यों की त्यों धर दीनी, चदरिया झीनी रे झीनी. That is the best thing which I talk about sustainable marketing. You are here in this world, you give it back, you don't have to carry anything with you. And if that is your corporate philosophy of doing business, it is very easy to be part of people and create wonderful experiences. Make sure that the connections are relevant. People won't come for just like anything. They will come if you are providing them the most, and I'm talking about mass events, 10 lakh people, 5 lakh people, 20 lakh people. Also, stay connected consistently. I shared with you a club example. You create a website, at least keep sending them emailers. Send relevant information from time to time. If nothing, tell them what are the nice books to read on this particular subject, or who are the people who you could possibly take your interest forward. For a lot of colleagues in the audience who are from the activation agencies, a lot of peers from the audience, comprehend your client right. It is very, very important to understand category deeply and with as much information as possible. A lot of times a client won't even give you time to speak meaningful discussions. डॉक्टर समझदार होता है तो पेशेंट अपना दुखड़ा बताता है, वरना नहीं बताता है, वरना ऐसे ही प्रिस्क्रिप्शन लिखवा के चला आता है. सो आप अगर समझदार डॉक्टर हैं तो आप उसके बारे में सब कुछ समझेंगे. कैटेगरी अंडरस्टैंडिंग इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. अंडरस्टैंड देयर मार्केटिंग ऑब्जेक्टिव्स फॉर दैट ईयर. Unilever was doing something last year, but in November, December, the plan is changed. And in the month of February, you are expecting them to be running on the previous year. No, that's not there. So, simplest question. And whichever way, whatever is your source to understand that. Because the brief, the right brief will come from the right marketing objective, or else you would be going back with a solution for them, which is not even relevant. And then revalidate your client's brief on every single thing. Have I understood it right? Is this all right? Are you trying to do this? Do you believe that you are on this geography only, or you want to go to more geography? Do you want to go deeper? Do you want to restrict yourself only to these few people, or you want to go to more? Ask as many questions. I am sounding a little textbookish and academician, but it is very, very important. Every day I find problems happening in this area. And finally, crack the idea, a great, interesting idea, and make sure you present it in the most beautiful manner. I keep telling my internal team, so this external communication is a lot of times kind of, oh, great, wonderful, why don't you send the presentation, PPT, we will have a look at it, we'll come back to you. No, never, refuse. Say, we will present it to you. You want an e-presentation, we will do it, because you can't create that excitement and experience. Anybody else can do it in as in beautiful manner. And now last and the most important one, most of us do not have this clear measurable outcome matrix being given to the client. It's very, very important. Why would somebody want to spend? You know, this answer is an absolute no-no, that I can't measure the success. Of course, there has to be a success. Somebody is investing money, and make it on everyday basis. An event goes long, you know, for 2 months, 2.5 months. Let's say a ground activity is happening. Every evening, client must know what transpired on that day. Create a dashboard, provide information, real-time basis, give access to them, upload images, give them live videos. A conference is happening here. Let's say somebody for Anurag's team has, you know, some external client has sponsored it. He's not able to come in here. Why can't there be a video link? He can see what exactly is the true audience turnout, or whatever is the kind of engagement which is happening there. So which means the transparency of your grid is very, very important. That's all what I want to present to you. Thank you so much.